Yo, what's good, man? What's good? We have Olympian Maurice Mitchell, an NCAA champion at Florida State, man. Hey, man, this is the second time, you know, for those of you who are watching, I've actually met this guy in person. Very, very good man. And I'm glad to have you on the show. And, I feel very honored, interviewing an Olympian. And, I just wanted to ask you a couple questions about your career and, like, basically what it took to get to that level, where are you now, and and yeah. So if you want to introduce yourself, you can. So
Hey, what's up, yo? I appreciate you having me on here, man. I'm Maurice. I won multiple national championships at Florida State. I'm now a coach. Just really focusing on the youth right now. So that's the big thing right now is making sure I get some of these kids to the next level, getting them training that they need or missing out on in the high school level. So it's been a pretty fun journey.
okay, yeah, man. This is Maurice Mitchell, man. My name is Caleb Campbell, aka K Cam. I'm a track and field student athlete at UTSA, and I'm a four-time junior Olympian, four-time national semifinalist in the AU Junior Olympics, one-time finalist, all state in Texas track and field. My best PR is a 10:44, 21:35 in high school, 15 mile conference, Dean's List recipient, etc. So I still got 2 more years to go, but don't want to hold up the lane, man. I have a couple questions for you. And my first question would be, when did you first start running track, and why did you start running track, and when did you start to enjoy it?
I started running when I was 8 years old. I had a cousin of mine tell me about track and field, and me being a football and a basketball player. Um, I was like, hey, it's always good to be fast. So I tried it out when I was 8, man, and I just loved it from there, man. I love the competition part of it, just competing, just being able to go out there and race kids just for the fun of it. That was the most funnest thing about track that I loved. So I just fell in love with it since then, since I was 8.
Okay. How was your high school career, and what were some of your biggest accomplishments in high school? I know you come out of Missouri, and I don't know what the talent is like up there, but what was it like, winning the 100 meter, 200 meters, and 400 meters at state?
Man, it was a good experience, man. I tell people all the time, my freshman and sophomore year, I wasn't really on the radar like that. My sophomore year, I got second at state. Um, and I guess I was a surprise because no one really knew about me. But my sophomore year, I was, like I said, I was a state runner up, and then my junior year, I won the state title in the 1, 2, and the 4. Uh, along with breaking state records with running. I ran 10:4, 20.9. Um, so yeah, man, it was a really good experience. Like I said, Missouri is it's not a small town because I was born and raised kind of like in the city. Uh,
Hmm.
but I mean, we had some pretty fast runners come out of Missouri, man. Like girls like Mona Lee, she was an
Hmm.
Olympic athlete. Maurice Green, he's from Kansas. So I mean, we've had also Isaiah Young, he's from Kansas as well. Again, it's not
Right.
not like typical. They're a little bit further out, but yeah, man, Kansas City, we have some pretty decent sprinters, man, that come out of Missouri. So we try put Missouri on the map.
Okay, yeah, that's very good to hear, man. Cause I know right now, I think Florida, it's a big beef between, not beef, but competition between Florida and Texas,
Yeah,
Virginia, and other states when it comes to track and field. And we know track and field doesn't get a lot of love. It's not as it's very popular. It's an Olympic sport, but it's not. How you go pro, stuff like that, and many people don't understand that
yeah,
when it comes to track and field is really different. Like, it's not like you can be on a practice squad and still be getting paid millions. You have to be running like 9.7s consistently.
hmm
What I'm saying? And so, man, that was a good thing to hear, man. My second question would be, what made you choose Florida State, and how did you feel being a national champion in the relay and in the opens?
I mean, Florida State was just a phenomenal university. They came with 3 national championships before I got there at Florida State. And then also they had Walter Dix, who was a bronze medalist in the 100 and 200, also the collegiate record holder, running 19.6. So that was kind of like an easy choice for me. Honestly, I wanted to go to a program that was already developing, already getting guys getting to that next level. So that was the main reason why I chose Florida State, because I felt like it would be an opportunity for me to really help develop me, and also be another Olympian like Walter Dix. Um, and when I won my first national title, man, it was just a surreal moment, honestly, because people don't understand like how much I had to go through to finally win a national championship. Because
Mm,
going in as a freshman, being ranked number 3 in the country at a high school, there was a lot of pressure that that was put on me, not only from the university, but a lot of pressure I put on myself. When I came in, I didn't really run as fast as I had expected. I mean, I ran 20.6 as a freshman and 10.5. So, I mean, my times weren't, I didn't really get any faster per se coming in
mm,
freshman. So that was a little bit, frustrating. But, and like I said, there was times I wanted to quit. Cause I went to national my freshman year and got last place, second to last place. So it was a little bit, depressing. And I wanted to transfer, man. I had a lot of mixed emotions. And then
yeah.
going into my sophomore year, I had a little chip on my shoulder. And again, I went to nationals and just did, I just fell short. Went to nationals, ranked number 1 in the country, and I didn't even make it past the semis, or I didn't even make it to the final. So just going through those trials and tribulations and getting the opportunity to finally win that first national title, man. It just feel like all the hard work that I put in, and all the trials and tribulations I had to go through, it made me to become the athlete I became at Florida State.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. What was it like racing Jeffrey Demps? I remember Florida being a very, very big powerhouse back in the day, not only in football, but in track and field, man. Florida used to, when I was little, I just remember Jeff Demps and Chris Rainey and
Mm-hmm.
seeing them run that the Penn Relays, one of the biggest events in the world. How did it feel racing against competition like that? Did you feel nervous or was it
Not,
normal to you?
I knew that I'd be at some point in your in track and field, you realize like, man, this is where you belong. I mean, Jeff Demps, man, he was a different beast, man. I mean, he was a football guy that I would say Jeff Demps was. I would feel like Jeff Demps is more of a track guy that played football, and Chris
Hmm.
Rainey was a football guy that ran track, because obviously Chris Rainey, he played. They both played in the NFL. But Jeff Demps was a sub 10 guy, ran 9 seconds in the 100.
Hmm.
Chris Rainey wasn't so much of I wouldn't say a track guy. He still ran 10.2, like 10.3, 10.4. But I mean, I also ran. I don't know if you know, I ran against CJ Spiller, Jacoby Ford. I ran against a lot of football guys that play in the NFL. So
Jacoby Ford sounds very familiar too.
yeah, he went to Clemson.
Okay.
Yeah, he played. I think he played for the Buffalo Bills and he played for the Raiders. So I mean, I got a chance to run against a lot of football guys that play in the league. So it was always good. It was always fun to kind of run against those guys and see them play in the NFL. So
Okay. What was one of the biggest moments that you think that happened in Florida State? Because I remember when you were at UT, say you were telling us about y'all were at the national championship. Coach Jackie Richards and Kareem Street, who was at Florida State, they actually know this moment. Y'all dropped the baton and actually won the relay.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, that crazy day, man. Because we had a chance to break the collegiate. We got a chance to break the collegiate record that day, and so Kemar Hyman, who's also an Olympic sprinter for the Cayman Islands, he came around that corner, man, first leg, and Nagoni Makusha, who was a national champion, he broke the collegiate record the day before in the 100, and apparently like they got that baton. I guess he got too close to him, and he boggled the time, and that boy Kemar caught the bad boy in midair and then gave it to Nagoni, and then boom, it was a wrap after that. That moment was surreal because I thought we dropped the stick. I see the video here. If you see it in slow mo, you see Nagoni actually catch, like you see Nagoni he
yeah,
hit, then he gives it back to him before the end of the zone, which takes about that took about a half a second, I would
that was at least 37
at
right
least
there.
37. So I mean, it would have been nice to break that record, dog. I ain't gonna lie, but I mean, it was fun to get that stick around and come with the victory, because, like I said, I think Florida was the favorite to win, but they dropped the stick too.
Yeah,
So
I see.
that day was amazing because I mean we also obviously we could have won the national title that year. I think we lost by like a point and a half or something like that. But
Yeah, man, it's very difficult to even make it to nationals to that level, and
it is.
like,
I understand. I mean, back when my freshman year, they would only take about 6 people per region. It used to be regions back in the days, and then
hmm
you had to run 3 rounds. But now it's they only have 2 region. They only have two, the West and the East, and they take like the top 24 people to nationals, or the top 16 or something like that. Can't remember, but
yeah, because it's harder to, I think, to go in. It's actually very hard to go indoor because it's top 16 now, I
yeah, yeah.
believe.
Uh, because
Man,
my freshman year, they took top 16, and I was 17th. I ran six. I ran 666. No, wait. No. I don't know. They was taking 16, and I was a 15 person, and I ran like 666. I barely made it in. So I know how it is barely making that bad boy.
yeah, man. So I have another question, man. What is the most important factor when it comes to dealing with mental health? I know you touched on that earlier when, well, you always talk to us about like, believing that you can be there. And I remember being around, like, just looking at them, Carmelita Jeter. When I didn't even know Jeffrey Demps was at the U of A's track meet for like 2 years until I
Mm.
heard his name. The Maurice Mitchells, Carl Lewis, Natasha Hastings. When you see people like this, Sydney McLaughlin, like when you see people that's on NBC Sports, and I remember being way back in middle school, I always wanted to be like on TV, in the spotlight. And I even saw Lolo Jones, man. I forgot
Well,
her. Yeah, like it's crazy, like seeing athletes that you saw when you were little, and you see them in person. Like it blows my mind. So, what do you think? Helps mental health. Like, is it motivation? Is it believing in yourself? Like, how would you think that works out?
I think honestly, it's about like what you think you bring to the table. Honestly, I mean, there was a lot of times where, like I said, there was times where I didn't think I belonged, and it showed in my performances. Like I go out on the track and I just didn't perform really well. Um, so that's it's very huge for one to believe in yourself, and then two with me being a spiritual man. I had to kind of put everything in God's hands. Honestly, I used to always think that I can handle everything on my own.
Hmm
I eventually had to understand, like God put me in this position for a reason, and I just had to continue to trust in His will. And like I said, I had friends in college who could have ran pro, or just didn't really plan out. That they was just as fast as me, but it didn't work out to their favors. Obviously, God had a different plan for them. So I think honestly it's all about being able to trust in yourself, and believe that you're worth whatever is going on in that.
Yeah, that's
Um,
that's true, man. Because I remember back in high school in 2016. The original time they had it at, like I said, it was 10:11, and I was always kind of wondering, like, what did I run that day? And track and field is one of those sports where, like, sometimes being consistent is hard. But for a lot of years, man, not only do you not when you feel like you don't belong there, you just kind of sit there and go like, okay, what am I doing? And then you have people, that the gainsayers, the haters. So everything that you're accustomed to, it kind of flips, and you kind of go like, well, how do I even deal with this? And I remember, that next week at area, it rained for 4 days. We didn't practice. We only did relay handoffs on that Friday. And I'm still thinking, like, you know what? I'm good. I just ran 10-2, 10-3, 10-11, whatever I ran. Y'all got to area, and my explosiveness and my top end speed was just gone. Like, none of it was there. And I realized real fast, like, how quick you can go from the top to the bottom.
yeah,
But not only that, like, even my senior year, I kept getting hurt. I was hurt my previous year, my sophomore year, when I went 10-7 as a 16-year-old. And when I got my senior year, I went 10-46 in prelims and pulled up. You know what I mean? And so when I got to college, my mind, I was always like, you know what, am I going to keep getting hurt? Like, what am I doing that keeps making me get hurt? And then, of course, my diet and 90% of it was mental because I just remember not really, I didn't have that confidence, that same confidence I had when I was winning and when I was with my brothers who won district, who won nationals. It's different when you're around people who's not acclimated towards your same goals.
Yeah.
That's why I brought up that question because even in college, my first 2 years, opened up 21-5. It's pretty good. We won the 4x1 the first meet. We opened up number 3 in the nation, and then boom, we got hurt. Sophomore year, opened up 10-5-9, and 21 like mid again. Took like a month off. Boom, got hurt. But my junior year, I just kept working because running into guys like you, running into Kareem Street Thompsons, and like when you hear the stories, and like you said, it's a reason why you're here. And for so many years, I've kind of like been pondering on like, man, I could have played football, I could have did this, but it was almost as if God was saying like, make the most of what you got now. And then once I started thinking about that, that's when I improved. I started having fun again. I wasn't worrying about time, none of that. I was just happy to be here, and all these doors opened up. So that's a huge factor, man. For
Yeah.
real.
I just think it's important that like you don't try to. I think for me, my issue was I used to always try to compare myself to other people. Like, man, like this person doing this person doing that. Like I should be doing what he doing. Like at the end of the day, it's about you. Like you can't be worried about other people, and that was kind of my thing. My like I said, my freshman and sophomore year when I struggled, competing on that level. That I used to always think about other people. Like, oh man, what is he doing? What is he doing? And not
Hmm.
about like what I need to do to make sure that I'm performing at the highest level. Um, and so I just think that's really important to understand. Like, you got to focus on what you're doing and how you can get better, and not like obviously you learn from other athletes, but it's important that you like figure out how you can improve your mental state, how you can learn from your mistakes, um, you know, in practice or whatever you're doing outside of track. So
That is true, man. I actually got to talk to Mike Rogers' sister. She's actually at UTSA, and I talked to her a lot, and just about how it was at Florida. And it's crazy. I think a lot of times, many people feel like professional athletes are, they feel like they're too big to talk to anybody, to talk to the normal person. And when I'm talking to you, when I'm talking to anybody, and it's like it's it it's mind boggling how easy I can talk to a lot of Olympic athletes and professional athletes. And I would think to myself, I never thought it was like that. Like I've always kind of thought like, they were just cocky, and they were like extremely focused. You can't talk to them. And so when you were on the rise to fame, when you were number one in the nation, when you were winning championships, how did you handle the pressure? Like how are you talking to people? Did you feel like you had to put on an image, or
nah, I mean honestly, I was raised always to be humbled. Um, and my dad used to always tell me like he always used to tell me a scripture: let another man praise you, not your own mouth, not your own lips. Um,
Mhm.
that scripture kind of stuck to me because I remember I had my senior year in high school, man. I was on the verge of running. I had just ran like 20.4.
Oh.
So it didn't count. I ran 20.4, ran 10.2. And I started to feel myself, man. Honestly, I'm like, man, I'm unstoppable, dog. Can't nobody beat me. I ran 20.7. I ran 20.7 at AAU. Like I was about to go to nationals. I was warming up, pulled my hamstring, just warm. I was doing some high knees, hamstring pops. My senior year of high school. I'm like, what the heck? I ended up actually going to state. I won the 1, 2, and 4, and the 4. I won the 1, 2, and the 4 my senior year on like on one leg. If you you can look back, you can go look back and you'll see articles but yeah, I remember that right there. Like, man, I told myself, man, I can't. I started to carry myself a little differently, and then like going into college, obviously I had a clean slate. But like I said, I can count on one or two hands how many times I won a race. So when I finally became that guy, like that guy to beat, like I just felt like I had a chip on my shoulder, but like I feel like I had to always prove myself. Like there's always going to be somebody out there that's going to try to take your spot. So for me, I just grind like I was a new kid on the block. Like obviously I had a lot of focus, but I didn't stay complacent. Like I just kept on working hard. I didn't feel like I was the big man on campus. Um,
Right.
so me, like I said, I learned from somebody, and I mean, at my senior year, my junior year, I had athletes learning under me. So I feel like it's always important to, I don't know if you know Walter Dix, but Walter Dix was a very humble, quiet, like dude. Walter Dix, I remember when Walter Dix won the bronze medal, and he came back to Tallahassee. He came to my room like
Mm-hmm.
visit me, and he talked to me for a good little minute about just continue to grind and staying humble and trusting the process. So like I said, I had a mentor like Walter, and so I like, and also I had my best friend Charles, who was what he got sixth place at the World Championships when Usain Bolt broke the world record, and Charles was, he's somebody who won a national championship. I got a chance to see him. I got a chance to watch him. I got a chance to see how he carried himself. So for me, I learned from other people, man, on how to carry myself when I became that guy. So, like I said, it's all about learning. It's a learning experience, and I got a chance to see it firsthand on how you should carry yourself when you become, that guy to beat. And I think that it really helped me in my confidence and stuff like that. So,
All right. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say that, man. Like for me personally, I thought to myself, I said, man, I'm tripping. But one thing I realized when I got to college is that for me personally, even though I wasn't hitting the times that like is like wow in college, I feel like people still saw my resilience, and of course they saw my improvement. But like I remember warming up at Texas A&M and like at Baylor or something, even at our home meets, and like for some reason I would always be getting these looks, but it wasn't dirty. It was just kind of like we know that kid,
mhm,
and being spiritual, I was like, I'm thinking to myself, it's more of like the real athletes, the people who, like you said, are very humble, but they're elite. They can see potential anywhere. But I think the biggest key for me and for my walk, and I got people to this day that'll be like, "Oh yeah, K Camp, like he's the goat," and I'll be like, "Well, I didn't even do anything. Like I didn't even. It was I didn't even place that conference my first 2 years." And so like to hear that, and when you got people like I raced against a guy named Jace Coleman. He went to state in the 200-meter dash. Went to A&M, went like 6'7", almost 6'6" in the 60. But
mhm,
you got guys like him, and he's telling his team like, "Hey, watch out for." I don't know what he's telling his team, but like he's showing mad respect. Like it was very humbling to me, and I was all the nights crying, all those nights that I prayed about it, and I just remember like damn, am I ever going to get back to where I used to be?
yeah.
And but it's when I think about it, and like I said, even teams like Kentucky, Baylor, you know, LSU, Houston, who won a national championship, I think a couple years ago, 2018, I believe.
Mhm.
But when you have a lot of guys that you grew up with and y'all all are competing at the Division 1 level, it's also very different too. And I think that's the biggest key, man. You always you take the good parts of what you've been through, and then you use that, and all you gotta do is improve. And ever since then, and it's crazy being a senior now at UTSA, like everybody looks at me like I'm the big guy. I'm only like 5'7", but it's like you being older, and plus I got the beard and stuff, like, and it's crazy. But I've always had that gift of being a leader. And
Yeah.
I wasn't loud. I don't know. I just wasn't just boisterous, man. But with that being said, I just have a few more questions, man. What did it take to be a champion? And what advice would you give athletes concerning diet and feeding your body? Like, how does this all tie into your performance, and how does this tie into being a champion?
Um, Honestly, I think. the what how it took me to become a champion honestly was my failing, like honestly my failure and my mishaps. Like I said, if I came in straight out of high school and just started busting heads and winning races, I don't think I would have became hungry. Um, just like I said, losing a lot, man, losing, not running fast. Like I said, and my standard is, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of guys who wish they can just run 6 seconds in the 60. But like me, man, I step on the track and I feel like a 6'6" is a bad day for me. Like, man, I ran 661. Like, man, I did terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, a lot of it had to do with me putting a lot of pressure on myself. But I think the reason why I think I became a champion is because I experienced so much failure, dog. Like I said, there was times where like I said, I didn't think I belonged in and I think me failing, and I think that really helped me like just grind. I'm talking about like I used to be in my room doing like a whole bunch of push-ups and
Man.
like killing my core, like watching videos all night, figuring out like, man, like how can I get better at getting out the blocks, or how can I get better on my transition, or how can I hold my form, my top end speed, just doing like little things like that. Like I would go out on the track on the weekend and work on my transitioning on the curb on the 200, just doing like
Mm-hmm.
that, man, and trying to figure out ways where I can continue to improve in the weight room. Always asking coach questions on, how can I improve my curb, or how can I improve my you know, my last 50 meters. So just me being resilient and experiencing that failure and learning each race that I might have messed up, or fixing small pieces of my race. And I think that's what made me, as all that comes about, that what made me become the champion I became. Um, and in regards to just diet and taking care of your body, I mean, people always ask me like, "Oh, did you have a Pacific diet?" Honestly, man, I'm be honest with you. When I wake up in the morning, I think I had chicken fillet breakfast every morning, dog. I ain't gonna lie. I think I had chicken fillet breakfast every morning. Um, for lunch, I used to eat lots of chicken. I'm talking about like chicken. I ate chicken every day on campus.
Yeah.
And then for dinner, my wife, she's not my wife now, but she was a All American triple jumper at Florida State, and she used to cook a lot of meals. Um, but we never went out to eat really. We didn't go to McDonald's. We wasn't like going out to eat. We wasn't drinking no sodas. We wouldn't eat no Burger King, no KFC. Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I went out to eat and stuff like that. But the main thing was that like I ate when I needed to eat. Especially like before practice. Uh, also, I also made sure I got some good starch in me um, during the night. And the key thing was getting my rest, man. People think like you go to college and party and all this other stuff, man.
Hell no.
I did that in college, but when it came to like January, I mean we was in bed by 8 o'clock, man. I mean I was that's one thing about me was I was really disciplined when it came to getting my rest, because for you to be able to run fast and you know compete at that level, you have to learn how to recover. So I was always in the cold tub. I was always getting treatment, taking care of my. Even when I wasn't injured, man, I was in there getting a massage. I was getting chiropractor. I was doing the little things to make sure that I didn't get injured. Like I said, I got my rest. So I think that's really key. Is like I said, there's no special diet, but obviously you have to eat smart. I didn't eat to get full. I snacked on a lot of food. I I didn't eat really late. I think I ate only I didn't eat after 8 o'clock. So like I said, I was really disciplined when it came to, like I said, my food choice weren't very like, they weren't like the best, but I wasn't going out eating like junk. Because like I said, when you train at such a high level, you train every day. I mean, like I said, it all depends on your, your hereditary. But I don't gain weight like some athletes will eat bad and gain a lot of weight. But for me, because I train every single day, and I worked out every day, I can go and have a pizza if I wanted to.
Yeah. That's how it was for me, man. Like I remember my freshman year, dude. My diet was horrible, yo. Like it'll be 12 midnight. I'm eating like Gogurt, bro. I'm talking about I'm eating extra cheddar goldfish. And coach, that's what's funny, man. I got third place in the 200, like the first meet, and you see my belly just like out there, and everybody was kind of like looking like this kid wasn't like that because I gained like 20 pounds that summer, but I wasn't really paying attention. Like I knew to eat healthy, but my metabolism wasn't the same.
Same, yeah.
And, like throughout the years, man, I had to like lose all that weight. In junior year, I dropped back to like 145. I was 135 coming out of high school. You know,
Mm.
some people would be like, "Well, 150 isn't heavy." Yeah, it's not heavy, but it's a lot to run with it if that's not your
Normal weight.
supposed exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on this year, man. Like I had to when I worked over the summer at Sonic, and I mean, I knew to eat smart still. Like I knew not to eat like a lot, but some days, especially being a collegiate athlete and a college student, I mean, sometimes you just gotta eat what you what you gotta eat.
Yeah. I mean,
And
eat what's present.
yep. And I'll tell you one thing, like the very first day, like I paid for it, man, because we had 400s on the first day. And I'm like, I'm struggling to finish a lap. Like that's how bad it was. And I remember I see Coach Street, and I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, like I hope he doesn't say anything. You know what I mean? Like this, just don't say nothing. Cause I'm thinking to myself, due to this COVID-19, you know, all the gyms were closed, and this was coming off. This is coming off a very good, no indoor season. I was very consistent. You know what I mean? And we had a very good relay team. We would have went 38, 39. We would have went to nationals for the first time in school history. And we had a very solid team. Michael Dawkins, PR 6'7" and 60. Yeah, Brett. He had Brett Winnigan. You know, he had me. He had Jared Taylor, who's also PR was 1044. So we had a pretty good team last year, and that was the best that we felt for 4 years. So it was very unfortunate that that happened. But I think when the COVID thing happened, I kind of like let off the gears,
Mm.
and just the fact that I'm here now, you know, still training in this November, and I dropped to 2.8, my 2.8s in the flying 30, trying to hit the 2.7s, and like just a mentality of improvement, man. Like it, it just helped me get through a lot. But the diet though, I started back with my protein plant plant based protein diet, and
Nice.
when I have a chance, if I buy protein, it's like chicken or like lamb, but or like almond nuts, cheese. I don't eat like a lot of dairy though, but it's like those little packs, the protein packs. And yeah, man, staying disciplined. I think now like the latest I'll eat on a weekday is like 9 o'clock. And on a good day, probably 8. You know, it just depends how I'm feeling. And I try not to eat late through the night, 10 to 12 o'clock, because your body, they say it takes 2 hours to digest food, but when you're eating so much, you have to get up and wake up. I mean, once your body starts moving again, that's when it starts digesting again.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed like I'll get up at 10 o'clock. We have practice at 12. That's not I know it's kind of late for a lot of people, but you know I still have a lot of food sitting in my system. Cause I'm thinking like, well, my food is digested. I'm good. No, because when I get up, you start moving around. You start drinking a lot of water, and then all of a sudden you got to constantly go to the restroom and practice when you could have been disciplined, clean out your system, and you would have been a lot more leaner. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you put it on that, man. But last question I had though was, do you enjoy coaching now, and do you still train? Like, you
Um,
know,
I've actually, coaching is one of those things where like it's bittersweet because you coach athletes, you like, man, I can do that's easy. One of those things where like you see kids do it, like man, you realize how one thing you realize like dang, like how much on a different level you were compared to like the kids you coach. I
yeah,
um it makes you like it makes you miss it a lot, man. Me coaching, like it makes me one miss it makes me miss the competition, but two, it makes me realize how much I don't miss training because the pain that I put these kids in, it's it's through the roof. I mean, like it's tough, man. I tell you, like man, track is one of the hardest sports to train for,
tell
and
them.
coaching, but coaching now, like now that I'm older, coaching has brought me so much joy and excitement. Like I see kids, I train a lot of kids, and I see kids run personal best, and I never seen such big smiles. And so like I said, me coaching now, just it brings so much of my passion I knew I've always had coaching track. It's brought so much joy. And like I said, my first year coaching after I left UTSA, I got a head coaching job coaching at a little private school, and we won state my first year there. And I never seen. I think we had what, two or three athletes go off and run college track.
Mm-hmm.
It felt bittersweet because it's like, you obviously wish you can be out there because you used to be out there, but it's a different excitement. Being out there, being able to coach these young kids and make a difference. So I'm just glad to be able to pour my experiences, pour my knowledge into these young kids, and kind of give them to understand that, because like I said, I think I have a good story about
Mm-hmm.
fearing and not, kids. A lot of kids think I came out and just was busting heads all the time, winning all. But that ain't the case, man. Like I said, I think I lost more than I won. And
Facts.
so that's something I try to get my kids to understand is you're gonna lose. You might lose more than you win, but the one that you win is gonna matter the most.
Yeah, it's all about quality, man. Like, dude, like it was a guy like way back in middle school. He was beating me. He used to beat me the last 20 meters every time. Like his name was Quentin Newton. I never forget this guy. And like my coach Derek Brew, man. Shout out to Derek Brew, man. LSU champion, SEC champion, I believe. A PR like 44-7 in the Open Four. Bronze medalist at the '04 Athens Olympics. My bad, but yo, like when he used to coach us, like for the 4x1s and the 4x2, we had an excellent sprint squad. Like my bro, he went 21-0, almost went 21 flat, and as a junior, I believe.
Oof,
And I was a 100-meter guy, but I used to beat him in 200 too. But that was like my friendly rival. But um, yeah, man, when we were training, and sometimes it's not about training all day. So those days where you're working on technique and form and the little things, man. And that's one of the biggest keys to winning. Because when we broke the district record way back in 2012, we were like 46, I think, as seventh graders in the relay. So that's pretty fast at that age. And we were like 13. And I remember breaking the 100-meter record, went like 11.3. I went 22.35 that summer out of eighth grade. But that same year, I was going 24 in the two. So
wait, you
it's
ran
just
22 and 11.3 in eighth grade?
yeah, like that. Yeah, I went 11. I went 11.5. If it 11.52 that district meet, then like AAU that summer, I went 11.3 and 22.3.
Dang, he ran way faster than me.
And that's it, bro. People don't understand that about track and field. Like you would have dudes running 10.7s at 13, and they would never break 10 in their life. And when you look at Trayvon Bromell running 99.9 consistently, a guy that's straight Jesuit in the Houston area, Matt Boiling, when he went 9.98, with a 4 point something tailwind, but that's still FAT. And
Yeah,
people don't understand how hard it is just to run 10 low. Like,
no, it's tough. I mean, people ask me, "Oh man, Have you heard of Matthew?" People don't understand. If you watch Matthew Bowling this past year, he ran what six? He only ran 6.73 and 20.7. So I tell people like, man, you could be fast now, but that doesn't mean you're gonna be fast. It's all about kind of perfecting your craft and also like I said, stop not being complacent. I seen a lot of guys run fast in high school,
mm-hmm.
and you just never hear about them again in college or not even run college. So again, that's a lot of factors. Some of those guys they lose focus, they lose that hungriness to be
Yep.
be great. And like I said, or they used to winning so much and they lose one time and they just don't know how to respond. To
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one strength that I had was I knew how to respond to losing. It just made me that much a better athlete. I didn't let defeat or failure kind of define me as an athlete. But I think that's something I try to pour into my young kids.
That's that adversity, man. And I'm a big fan of like underdog stories. And, like a lot of things are symbolic too, man. And underdogs, the guys whose stories aren't heard, they're not told. And You talk about politics when it comes to football and sports, but track and field is one of those sports to where politics will not save you. Like it's legit on you, you
Yep.
know. And one thing I've always tell athletes and my friends, like with me personally, man, I'm a type of guy like no like I would try to do whatever I enjoy doing to the wheels fall off because who knows, man? Like I can keep competing unattached and hit something crazy one day and bam, like I'm in the Olympics. Something dumb like that, but because I enjoy doing it,
Yeah.
that could happen. And sometimes we lose focus on like why we're doing it in the first place. And you spoke about money early when you sign a contract with the Nikes, the Adidas, with a lot of things, man. Even my summer track coach, Brandy Cross, she went 50 point in high school. She went pro, signed by Saucony, and in her eyes, like she couldn't. I couldn't do nothing wrong in her eyes, but when she just like Allison Felix, man, when she had that baby, your life changes and stuff. It's kind of like you can't do a lot of things, but I think the biggest key though, when you get to that level, man, like always, I feel like you just always need to focus on what's important.
Yep.
Like not focus on like what you didn't do and why you didn't accomplish this and why this didn't happen. And that's the biggest key. And I feel like in today, like when it's talking about sports, when you're talking about track and field, there's so many great athletes in track and field alone, but it's so many names.
Mhm.
And even the good ones, like they get overlooked because people on the outside just see numbers. They don't see like nothing else. And that's one of the biggest things that is also overlooked. And man, that's why with me, I would just always like after my collegiate career, if I can somehow even run for a club team or a pro team, that'll be joyful for me because in my eyes, it's the fact that I can still consider myself pro and I can still have a chance to drop my time to get better. It just depends. You see Justin Gatlin, like 40 years old, still running 9.7.
I know.
So
He-
right, and people talk about age and like yeah, but sometimes it starts when you're younger though. 'Cause a lot of athletes and people in general, like when you're young, you eat bad, and you're thinking bad, you make bad decisions.
Yeah.
But that all of that ties into it. But man, thanks for hopping on the show, man. Like seriously, this was Maurice Mitchell again, y'all, NCAA champion, 2012 Olympian, and y'all check this man out, man. Look up his numbers, and with me, I'm Caleb Campbell, aka K Camp, man. Look, y'all can Google me as well. I might be starting a podcast. Watch out for your boy in the future, man. Might be making moves real time soon, man. But any last statements you wanted to make to the crowd or anything, or
Nah, I mean, if you're an athlete, man, just continue to grind, continue to perfect your crafts, trust the process. Don't give up on yourself, and do it for God's glory.
facts, man. But with that being said, this was your boy K Camp on Inside Texas Sports, and I'll be signing out, man.
All right, appreciate it.